What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 77, and we are talking about week 7, and this is the part 1 of episode 77. With me tonight from Denver, Colorado, wearing his Let's Go Mets shirt, Jason Ashby. How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing great, Mike. I'm ready to break this week down. It was another fun week in the Bigs, another fun week in baseball. Mets are looking good finally. I'm a happy camper. And now the Mets are coming out to Denver this weekend. So where I will actually finally get to meet your brother. Josh and I will be rocking Coors Field, watching our Mets take on the Rockies. So that should be a fun time. And yeah, let's get this going, shall we?
Yeah, all right.
It
This was a wild one, Jason.
yeah.
This is the first time in my life I've ever won ERA without winning ERA. It was pretty cool. It was a
Yeah,
lot of fun.
I'm sure. Let's get into your matchup here against McCloskey, and well,
Yeah, I'm kind of at a loss for words here, but it was pretty. I mean, all right, I guess let's just talk about the elephant in the room if you want to.
let's do it. Yeah, he didn't make the minimum. 38 and 2/3 innings pitched.
Yeah. So I do want to say what would the score have been if he had made the minimum?
It was I think you took 4 categories because of it.
Yeah.
So that would have been like what
11-7.
11-7. So yeah, I mean that's he ends up dropping to 5th because of this, and that could make a difference. That could, that an 11-7 loss could still be, he could still be in 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. We're looking at. I don't know what happened. I don't know if we really want to speculate, but I believe this is the first time since 2020.
Yeah.
I think it is that somebody hasn't reached the minimum in a given week. So that's rough.
Yeah. I mean, what I do want to say though is that at least I won the matchup like fair and square. You know what I mean? And because I would have felt awful if I had won and gained these extra 4 stats or have won because of these extra 4 stats. But like,
right.
At least it was a victory, and a victory I felt good about even without the, these 4 flips. So because we were battling all week and it was tight all week. So like I would have been thrilled with an 11-7 win.
Yeah. I mean, this was a fun one to watch. And we really, honestly, I didn't even notice the lack of innings until you mentioned it Sunday morning. But who would have thought that he couldn't make one move to find a pitcher or something. He did leave, and he left a couple of relief appearances on the bench this week, but I think it was only like an inning and 2/3. So it wasn't even that wouldn't have even made it.
Yeah, it was the Severino on the IL on Sunday, leaving him there. Which I don't blame him because the game was at 11:35 in the morning. So unless you're checking that the night before and making drops the night before, or you can't because your players already played. So unless you're waking up early to get all that done, it's tough.
And I know he's on the West Coast, right? So 11:35 is 8:35, on the West Coast. So
right.
Yeah. No, that is tough. That's definitely tough. It sucks because he would have gotten it.
Yeah. And it's funny because I added James Caprillion on Sunday with zero intention to start him.
Yep.
Not necessarily to prevent him from reaching the minimum, because that may not have been the goal, but because wins were just so close and I really wanted to like solidify that. And I had some pitchers in the earlier game, but like Caprillion was never going to be a starter, but he was kind of the last guy available there.
Right. Right.
So he could have picked him up, but he didn't.
Let's dive into the categories here, and let's get into this.
Yeah.
So the close categories, I'm not counting the ones where anything flipped because of not reaching the minimum. So you won by 1 error and 1 win, as you mentioned. James wins by 2 runs, a triple, and he did win. The 3 home runs by a batter. So that's why he won close, and you guys tied in RBIs, steals, and strikeouts, which I thought was really fascinating. This was like I said, this was a great matchup to watch. I really enjoyed watching this matchup because you guys are both really talented managers, and it's a shame to see that that's how it ended. But Monday through Saturday was just really fun to watch.
Yeah.
On your bench, sir, you go 10 for 38.
That is a oh man, that is a 282.
263.
Okay.
2 runs, which would have tied the category, but that's tough. 2 doubles, a home run, 7 RBIs, so you only needed 1 to win that.
Bummer.
9 walks, 12 strikeouts, and an error. Probably it's tough. Like you had on Sunday, you had Rowdy Tellez on the bench. He had a 2-run home run. Jake Berger had 3 RBIs on Saturday on the bench, but like, how do you get that guy in? It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
You tied the category, you didn't lose it, so I still think it's you end up obviously still with the big win. So I don't think it's that big of a deal, but just something to note.
Yeah.
Your transactions. Let's talk about real quick the trade. You mentioned it briefly last week's show when it went down literally like as we were recording, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. You got Ezekiel Duran from Frank for Travis d'Arnaud. Talk about that trade.
Yeah. I think Frank was frustrated with the fact that William Contreras wasn't starting very often. Like he was maybe playing once every 3 days. And I think Frank was under the impression that he probably should have been an everyday player, but wasn't. So I'm happy with Jonah Heim for right now as my catcher, and d'Arnaud just came back from the IL. So for me, it was a surplus. And I think he was ready to move on from Duran because he had just traded for Bregman, if I remember correctly. So he had a surplus there at infield. I needed a third baseman because of Rendon's wiener, and which hopefully he'll be back at the end of this week. But
Sounds like it.
Yeah, but it just seemed to make sense, and it was sort of a last minute, like, because the other trade fell through, which we didn't talk about very much, but the other trade that I had would have pulled Ty France onto the team. But that fell through, so I needed a backup plan because I had no other third baseman.
Yeah. I thought it was a great move. Duran has been killing it, and he's playing even with Corey Seager back. They're going to find a way to keep him in the lineup. I mean, the dude hit a home run his first day on your team, so like
He did.
That's you can't ask for much more than that.
Nope.
You used 9 ads, 3 hitters, 2 starters, 4 relievers. The Jake Berger ad I thought was kind of interesting, especially because you were lacking the third baseman. Josh Rojas didn't do well for you with the error. Anything you want to highlight in your ads?
Yeah, I don't think who else. Yeah, I mean, I guess the third base, I was trying to sort of rotate and find the right fit, but then once I got Duran, I didn't need Berger anymore. I felt like this past week specifically, and I know we'll get into it, but as far as the ads go, like I just had awful luck with relief pitchers. Like everyone I added just got blown up. Um,
Yeah,
from
Rastavan and Tonkin and I
Stratton and
think
Henches and like
yeah, yeah.
it was just endless. And then Ranger Suarez couldn't get out of the second inning, and Verlander got knocked around in his first start. Like Fairbanks and Peralta both gave up 3-run homers in extra innings. Like it was all just a nightmare pitching wise.
I mean,
Uh,
look, you pitch to a 5.26 ERA, which is not great.
it's not, and it would have been a lot worse if not for Verlander's Sunday start. So
Yes. Yes.
he made it like somewhat respectable, even though it wasn't at all.
Yeah. Let's talk about your key players. It was tough because you did have a good hitting week. You hit 285 with a 353 on base. I'm going to highlight Nolan Gorman for his 11 RBIs, though. Five runs, a double, 4 homers, 11 RBIs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, a 458, and a 519. He was great. Cedric Mullins, who, by the way, has homered today with 4 doubles and 7 RBIs. So, there was a lot of guys here that had – Durant had a great week. A lot of guys here had really good weeks for you. But the guys from Gorman was he's finally starting to break out, it looks like.
Yeah, and one more game starting at third base, and he's got that eligibility.
Nice.
So
that'll be huge.
Yep.
Well, your least valuable player I'm giving to the new namesake of your team, which, by the way, I love this team name. I've had the time of my life. That's well done, sir. Well done.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, Vlad did not have the time of his life last week.
No.
Just a double, 3 RBIs, a walk, 9 strikeouts, a 143 and a 174.
Yeah. Not good.
On the pitching side, who else but George Kirby, who was a former namesake of your team. Here he is. 13 2/3, a win, a loss, a homer, 2 walks, 12 strikeouts, a 263 and a 117. Not his best week, but I think he's thrown like 8 consecutive quality starts or something like that. The kid just keeps on rolling. I would Verlander, you're right. Like if his first start of the week didn't happen, he would easily have gotten the Cy Young, but it did happen. So it wasn't a great week for him.
Yeah.
But Sunday was fantastic and much needed for you and for the Mets.
Yeah.
I also highlight Dylan Floro, who recorded 3 saves in 3 appearances over 3 1/3 innings with nothing earned. So great week from Dylan Floro as the backup to AJ Puck. That was a great pickup for you.
Yes, thank you.
And the Cy Young, I am going to give it to you. You mentioned Ranger Suarez, who could not get out of the second inning. 2 innings, a loss, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, an 18 ERA, and a 4 WHIP. I know I own him in a couple other leagues. I'm trying to give him a chance, but he's got the start against Arizona. I think it's going to be kind of make or break for him.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with him. I really don't. Yeah. But you're right. I think this is the last straw here. And we're all kind of holding on to whatever he did. Like, what was it in 2021?
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. We'll see. This is it for him.
Yeah, I mean, he was decent last year, but he didn't pitch a whole lot. He was hurt, so that's a red flag. But coming back from injury, he hasn't looked great yet. But only 2 starts, so who knows?
Yeah.
On to McCloskey's team. On his bench, he went 19 for 62.
Oh God, I don't even know if I could try that. 57. So that is a 314.
That is a 306.
All right. Not bad.
With 13 runs, 3 doubles, 6 homers, 16 RBI, only needed 1 to win the category. 3 walks and 14 strikeouts. Yeah, the RBI is where it gets a little crazy. And I know we talked about it, off air, but the Ryan Mountcastle, Garrett Cooper situation did not work out very well this week for him. He
Yes.
picked up Cooper on Tuesday, and I don't know that he ever came out of the lineup after that. And
Oh,
Mountcastle, like on Tuesday, Tuesday Mountcastle was out of the lineup. He had a pinch hit home run. What can you do?
yeah.
But like there was other days where Mountcastle had a big day. I think it was Friday. I think it was. Let's take a look real quick. Yeah, here's Mountcastle with 3 RBIs on the bench, a homer. Um, so like, and you're starting Garrett Cooper, who did nothing. So I
Yeah.
don't know why that happened.
Yeah. And there were a
I
few
don't know.
Adolis Garcia benchings as well that were just, I was really unsure of why that was happening.
Yeah,
I
Tuesday
think it was
also.
the beginning of the week.
Tuesday he had him benched, and Hunter Renfroe was out of the lineup, and that's the easy fix right there.
Yep.
Boom, 2 RBIs, 2 runs, like yeah, easy. I mentioned the couple of relief appearances on the bench from Tanner Scott. Didn't really come back to haunt him, but again, I feel like this guy has always been trouble. James has always had trouble getting this guy in when he's pitching. So I don't know, how much longer you hang on to him if you're not starting him.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Um, for his ads this week, he did make that trade with Joe where he sent Randy Arozarena and Chris Bassett to Joe, and he got Anthony Santander, Corey Seager, and Seth Lugo, who has since gone on the IL after a terrible start. More on him in a minute. He did use 6 ads, 4 hitters, a starter, a reliever. Spencer Steer had a nice day for him on Monday, 3 for 5, run a double and RBI. That wasn't enough to keep him on the team. He dropped him for Garrett Cooper, who really did not have a very good week. So he also streamed a start from Jake Irvin against the Tigers. That did not work out well.
Nope.
And yeah, that looks like about it for his ads. Let's look at his key players, and we are going to talk about Corey Seager as his MVP. Welcome to the team. Welcome back from the IL. 538 averaging on base, 5 runs, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, 2 strikeouts, all in a matter of 4 games.
Yeah. Oh man, I was so frustrated.
I'm sure that's rough.
Yeah.
And 4 games, and his first game back, I think he went over 4. So really, that's 3 games worth of real production.
Yep. Yeah. It's pretty impressive.
I am going to give the least valuable hitter to both Garrett Cooper and Ryan Mountcastle because it was just a weird situation. Neither of them performed well when he started them, but Mountcastle was good on the bench. Cooper, he had a 053 with a 143 on base, a run, a double, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. And on the bench, Mountcastle had a great week. You just don't see it because he did nothing the one or 2 days that he started them.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the pitching side, again, we didn't make the minimum here, so I am going to give the Cy Young. The pitching wasn't great this week. Tony Gonzalez had 5 shutout innings with a win, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, an 80 whip.
I guess, yeah.
And the Cy Yucks, Lugo and Irvin, both of them were pretty bad. Lugo, 2 innings, a loss, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, a 22-50 and a 3, and a trip to the IL. Jake Irvin against the Tigers was awful, 2 2/3, a loss, 2 walks, 2 homers, 4 walks, 1 strikeout, a 13-50 and a 3.38. Ew.
Yeah. Not good.
I streamed this kid also against the Mets, and that didn't work out either. So I don't know if this kid's for real. He had the one good start. He had the one good start against San Francisco here, but otherwise he's been kind of yucky.
Yeah. And hey, shout out to Clayton Kershaw for the Cy Young too, who did a whole lot of thing this week.
Yeah, yeah. If it wasn't for the 13 strikeouts, he definitely would have been in the conversation. And the two
Yeah.
losses, yeah, he has not been well lately. He's on the bereavement list now. Um, we'll see. I'm facing McCloskey this week, so I'm hoping that this run of shitty pitching for Kershaw continues at least one more week.
What? Oh, yeah. Didn't he have a tragedy in his family? He lost his mom, didn't he? Or his dad?
Um,
I think it was his mom.
his mom, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yep, his mother passed away. Yep.
Yeah, and and poor guy had to pitch. Like he wanted to pitch that game because it was before the funeral, maybe. So he pitched that game, and God knows what was on his mind in that game.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's terrible. Oh, that's awful.
yeah.
Mad respect to you, Clayton Kershaw.
Yes.
Um, I mean, look, they say he's not gonna miss a start, but like, dude, miss a start.
Yeah, missed the start.
um, all right. Anything else you want to say about this matchup? I think we kind of covered the whole missing the minimum malfunction. But anything else you wanted to cover on this matchup?
The only thing I want to say, obviously this was a rough managerial week for McCloskey. But he is a great drafter, and this is a team that if he does step up and find the time to like really dig into the management, like this is absolutely a playoff team. Um,
Yeah,
I was struggling to keep up with him offensively this week, and if he played Mountcastle and Renfroe and Gonzalez a little more than he did, I think that I wouldn't have kept up at all offensively. So he is balanced top to bottom as far as his offense goes. Um, Obviously his pitching is probably the spot where he needs a little bit more, but he's gotten Severino back. Um, this is a strong team. Now he has the 3-4 of Texas. He's got the 3-4 of Baltimore. He's got the 3-4 of the Angels, all in those
yeah,
lineup.
yeah. It's a very scary lineup, and that can really cover the pitching because the pitching isn't bad.
No,
It's decent enough. Sonny Gray's having a good year. If you get something from Gonzalez and Kershaw, and he's got Woodruff. Eventually he's going to come back. So
yeah,
he's got the pieces if he can just stay afloat.
yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
My other question is, what do you do with Tim Anderson right now? Because you've just traded for Seager, which was a great addition, but with Ohtani at utility locked in there, you're never going to get Tim Anderson into the lineup. So
Yeah, I
maybe,
mean, you could say that Seager may get some days off here and there because he's coming
yeah,
back from injury, but I mean, I get the feeling that he's gonna be out there at least 5 of 7 days, in a given week. He hasn't
yeah,
had a day off yet since he's come back, so yeah, that's a good point.
yeah. And as far as my team goes, I feel bad that I gained those extra 4 stats, but again, it's not my fault. It
Right.
happened, and it's okay because I would have taken the 11-7 win, and I would have gotten some distance between myself and the second place team. I just got a little extra, and I don't love the way it happened, but at the same time, it happened, and it is when you have the minimum at 42, you have to think about it and you have to be active in order to reach it, especially if
Yeah.
you don't have 6 or 7 starters on your team. So it happens. It's part of the challenge of this structure that we play with.
Yeah, and there's talks about possibly even increasing that minimum,
Right.
in the future. So, it's definitely something that you need to really be cognizant of, or move on. Like I
Learn
said,
from it. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, McCloskey has been here for a while now. He knows how to do this. He's a great manager.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure if there's anybody that can bounce back from it, it's him. It happens, I guess. So
It
we'll see,
does.
we'll see how he does bounce back.
It does. And if you guys want to hear more about this, I'm sure you can tune into part 2 when our commissioner will probably speak on it as well.
Yes, I'm sure he will address it. For now, let's move on to our next matchup. And that's actually going to be, speaking of our commissioner, my matchup with Ben Nisman. Ben Nisman. You did the research on this, sir. What did you see?
Um, oh, I saw what an amazing showdown until Sunday.
Yeah.
And then the wheels fell off a little bit for you. I guess it could have been worse. Had he taken a double here and there, had he had a bigger offensive day and maybe like fought for RBIs, but like still like a lot of the things sort of fell in his direction towards the end of the weekend.
It was really the average on base, because I think we went into Sunday like virtually tied in both, or it was very, very close in both of these categories going into Sunday, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, my offense, I mean, here, let's take a look real quick. My offense just did not show up on Sunday. They were like, nope, it's Sunday. We're taking the day off. Yeah, I hit 111 with a 158, 12 strikeouts. Like, just garbage on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like you have the curse. Well, I don't know if you have the curse, but in this week you had the curse with Sunday. For me, it's always Monday. Like I always have the worst Mondays. But yeah, what I saw you, I can't even imagine the frustration because you were like, I think it was 11-10 at one point on Saturday. You may have been winning.
I was up.
Yeah, you were up, and it's just the way that it all just sort of unfolded.
And especially because like the pitching was so, I didn't know what to do with the pitching, because like I
Yeah, I
think
know.
like after Monday he was up 7-1 in relief appearances or something crazy like that, and like his ERA, like I mean, we actually brought ERA close together, which I was actually surprised about.
Yeah,
But at that point, like after Monday or Tuesday, I was like, well, fuck it, I'm not winning relief appearances, so I'm punting that, and I'm not winning ERA, so I'll just throw all the starters, get innings, get my strikeouts, maybe get some, get lucky in wins, which I was really close in wins. I really thought I was going to get the wins category,
yeah,
and go from there. So like, yeah, I would have been happy with, I was down, like I think I was also down 10-11 at one point. Like that would have
yeah.
been fine.
I do want to say for you though is that say what you will about the pitching, and it didn't seem like you took innings and strikeouts, but that was about it. You did push Ben out of his comfort zone a bit, so I want to give you credit there because he's not used to pitching 67 and 2/3 innings. So for some reason
Right.
he was chasing something, and you were forcing him to throw those pitchers over and over again. So you got
Right.
him out of his comfort zone.
There's a guy that's inched to the minimum the last couple of weeks. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate that.
yeah. Let's dive into the stats and then we can reevaluate at the end. Close categories this week. Ben won by 1 triple. He won by 5 walks by a batter, 6 strikeouts by a batter, and 4 home runs given up by a pitcher. Nothing else was really that close.
The 2
Um,
wins.
2 wins, yeah. I guess that felt closer than it turned out to be.
Yeah, because I was trying to get that, and like and at one point it was only up by 1, and I think he got a win on Sunday,
Yeah.
and that just kind of took the wind out of my sails.
Right, right. You win by the 1 run, which was nice. You also that's it. I guess we could say the 4 RBIs too. You guys tied it in doubles with 12. On
Yeah.
on Ben, we'll start with Ben, who won the week. On Ben's bench, good luck with this. He went 17 for 45.
Ooh. Um. Well, I think 15 for 45 is something. Um,
You're right. It is something.
yeah, something not good. So 352.
378, not awful.
Okay, all
Um,
right.
he left 6 runs, four doubles, five RBIs, a steal, four walks, three strikeouts, and an error. The runs and the doubles would have definitely flipped those categories. The runs would have flipped the categories. The doubles would have won the category.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was one player. It was Luis Ariz, and it was on Tuesday. He left Ariz on the bench. And then on Friday, he left Ariz on the bench. And Ariz this week was 5 for 10 on Ben's bench. And he had those 2 runs and two doubles on the bench. So there it is right there. Um, in some cases, it was hard to get him in. In others, like he had Charlie Blackmon in the utility spot. I think it was on Tuesday, who went like 1 for 4. And it's tough. I know he likes playing Blackmon at home,
Yeah.
which I totally understand. But Luis Ariz is like he's been hot, and it's tough to like leave that guy on the bench. Um, but yeah, when you have that many options and pieces, you got to make those decisions every day.
Yeah.
Um, he also just to highlight it, he did bench 2 starts. He benched Tyler McGill on, I believe it was Thursday, and then Miles Michaelis on Saturday. So 2 starters were left on his bench.
Well, for his sake, I hope he's benched Tyler McGill for tonight's start because he is getting walloped by the Cubs right now.
Oh, is he? I thought it was one
Yeah,
nothing. Oh, it got worse.
it got worse.
Okay.
It's not 4-0.
Oh, nice. Um, for his transactions this week, Ben used all 12 ads. So good for you, forcing him to use those ads. He added, which I thought was kind of fascinating. 2 of these were for week 8. So I want to give him that pass. But he did add 7 total relief pitchers, which I thought was fascinating given that you were not even in the conversation.
Yeah, right. I saw him making those ads for guys like I think like Herget and Suter, and I'm like, why? Like
Yeah,
relief appearances aren't happening.
right. I mean, maybe it was in preparation for the following. I know that Jose Hernandez and Quas, those 2 guys were after the
Yes.
bell on Sunday. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, he not counting those, it's still 5 relief pitchers that you're adding. He added 3 starting pitchers, Matthew Boyd, Clark Schmidt, and Eric Lauer, who we will talk about in a minute, and then 2 hitters, Brett Beatty and Manuel Margot. For his key players this week, let's talk about his MVP, which is probably his MVP for the second week in a row, and that's Nolan Arenado. So he hits 407 with a 433, 6 runs, a double, 3 homers, 8 RBIs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, and an error. His least valuable player, we will talk about Brandon Nimmo, who hits 156 and a 182, 3 runs, a homer, 2 RBIs, a walk, and 8 strikeouts. Very uncharacteristic of Nimmo to strike out 8 times and walk once.
He's been kind of like up and down so far this season. He'll have a stretch of where he's on fire, a stretch where he can't see the ball, and then back and forth.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Jeff McNeil, who had an awesome week, hitting 455 with a 480. But
also shout out. I also want to shout out Juan Soto, who tormented you last week, and while he did have a 360 on base, he really didn't do much else.
I know I don't want to talk about him.
I did.
For his pitchers, let's flip over to the pitching side. I'm going to give his Cy Young to Michael Wacha. 13 innings, 2 wins, 2 walks, 15 strikeouts, nothing earned, and a .62 ERA. How much did you hate Michael Wacha this week?
I really did. Like, the first start was against Kansas City. Like, okay, I get it. And then the second start was against Boston, and I picked up Corey Kluber to go against that start. in hopes that, maybe something magical would happen. No, Waka is still just going to be like all of a sudden the best pitcher on the planet for no reason at all.
Yeah, I had this guy for a bit last year, and he went through a spell like this as well, where he was just untouchable. Um, Good for Ben for picking this guy up. I'm sorry he tormented you this week.
Waka, waka, waka.
Waka Waka. His least valuable pitcher. Let's highlight the guy we mentioned before, which I'm not sure why he was picked up. Maybe you can shed some light. Maybe because innings were close, but he picked up Eric Lauer for a start. He got shellacked, giving up three innings, took the loss, gave up 3 home runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and an 18 ERA and a 2.67. And then he hits the IL and gets dropped.
Yeah.
And it was
and that was Saturday. That was Saturday against Tampa Bay. I don't either. Innings were pretty close at that point, I think. Although I think it was Friday. And we can talk about it. But Friday, my pitching, I think it was Friday that my pitching did exactly what I wanted it to do.
Okay.
And that was, I got like 30 innings or something like that on Friday. And so I think by Saturday, I don't think it was really all that close.
Okay. Yeah, and that's what I was saying too about you forcing him out of his comfort zone, is like without that Friday, you wouldn't have forced him to like do something uncharacteristic of Ben, which is add or stream a mediocre pitcher against a great team. He's usually very particular about who he plays in his pitching staff. So
yeah, it was Friday. 30 and 2/3 innings. I pitched on 34 strikeouts on Friday.
Wow. That's a day right there. That's a yeah. How many starters did you have?
I had 4.
Okay.
5. So like that was exactly what I was hoping to do. Like I didn't care if they got bombed. All I wanted was innings and wins and strikeouts. And we'll get into it, but that's exactly how Friday went, and that's how I wanted it to go.
Yeah,
I was really happy with Friday.
Yeah, congrats. That was
Sunday the worst.
Yeah. If only you could switch the two. So yeah, that was definitely Ben's Cy Young, but you forced him to do that. So that was impressively. Speaking of impressively, let's flip over to your team here. On your bench, Jason, you went 9 for 38.
Okay, that sounds decent, I think.
It's decent.
Yeah. Okay. Carry the one. 245.
237.
Okay. All right.
4 runs, 2 doubles, a home run, 5 RBIs, 2 steals, 4 walks, 11 strikeouts. The 2 doubles would have won that category, but nothing else plays. Then the doubles were on Sunday. So if we want to take a look at Sunday real quick, you went 4 for 8 on the bench on Sunday.
Yeah, and I benched Ruiz and Hayes because I was going against the matchups. Ruiz was going against Framber, and I think Hayes was going against Gausman. And I didn't like those matchups, so I didn't need steals, so I didn't care about Ruiz.
Yeah.
And Hayes had been kind of lousy, so against Gausman, I didn't feel comfortable starting him, but But then meanwhile, Duran does nothing, and Julio does nothing. So there you go.
Yeah. Another interesting thing, which I think you were kicking yourself about, was Wednesday, which actually didn't wind up hurting you at all, but you did leave a win on the bench, which was I don't know if it was anger or rage or whatever, but you arbitrarily benched Bryan Abreu and Matt Brash. So explain what happened there.
Yeah, because but by end of day Tuesday, like I said, relief appearances were so just bananas. I was just like, well, whatever. And yeah, it was definitely it was a passionate benching. That yes, I do wish I could take back. It didn't really matter at the end of the day,
No, it
but
did.
it was some rage. It was just frustration that I thought I had a pretty good bullpen going, and I just never got a chance to use it because
Yeah.
by the time it mattered, it was too late. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it sucked, but you know,
It
I
didn't come back to hurt you. I understand the rage benchings. I do it all the time. Um,
yeah, and I think also like I was cognizant of whip and ERA too because I know like early in the week the numbers are inflated, but by the end of the week they can come back down, and relief pitchers, if they're not getting relief, aside from getting relief appearances, they could also give up home runs and walks and hits. So
yeah,
I was trying to mitigate that if I could, but you know it happens.
it happens. It happens. Um, Otherwise, it was a great benching week for you. Leaving 11 strikeouts on the bench is great. Um, for your ads this week, you used 8 ads. 5 of those were starting pitchers in Dean Kramer, Michael Lorenzen, who was a great pickup for you that week. Not so much today. James Paxton, Zach Greinke, and Corey Kluber. And you added 3 hitters in Christian Bethancourt, some guy named Sable, and then Mark Vientos, which was a nice ad.
Yeah.
Your key players this week. Let's highlight the new addition to your team, Christopher Morel, who hits 360 with a 407. He scores 10 runs for you this week, 2 doubles. He hits 5 home runs and 8 RBIs for you this week, 2 walks. The 12 strikeouts aren't great, but who cares when he does everything else that he did?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fixture in your lineup now for at least the near future. Yeah.
Yeah. Until he stops doing this, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a great pickup. Really great pickup.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, some guys did not show up. And one of them is a guy that we've talked about over and over and over on the show, and that's Dalton Varsho, who in total goes 1 for 21 for you this week with no production and 5 strikeouts. That's
Yeah.
I don't even know what you do in that situation.
Yeah. I mean, he hit a home run last night for me, Monday
Good.
to kick off week 8. But yeah, it's really been a real struggle. And again, every time I bench him, out of rage, he does something good. So it's like I don't know what to do with this guy.
Pinch him out of rage. Yeah, and I also want to shout out 2 other stars that didn't show up for you. Wander Franco is one of them, and Julio Rodriguez, who has been another guy that's like, what do you do with him? You can't put that guy on the bench, but like, he's been kind of a letdown, huh?
He has, and I'll be honest, I thought about it. With Ruiz playing the way he's been playing, like there may be a time where like Julio needs to sit for a while. I mean, again, he had a good Monday yesterday, but he's been really terrible, and this is my first round pick. Like, this is a guy I'm counting on to be, the stud that he should be, and he hasn't been.
Yeah. He's tired, Jason, he carried my team on his back all last year and he's exhausted.
So it's your fault.
It's my fault. I overworked him last year, It
Damaged
happened.
goods.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about it. Even though I'm not.
I'm sure you're
Yeah.
not.
So let's move on to your pitching this week. Who else? Framber Valdez gets the Cy Young. And I want to shout out his complete game shutout on Sunday, which was outrageous and awesome to watch. 13 innings, a win, a homer, 2 walks, 15 strikeouts, 277 ERA and a 1 whip. That was against Oakland, if I remember correctly. So
It was, and we talk about Verlander like having his great start on Sunday with his not so good start earlier in the week, and it's the same thing with Valdez. He was not good earlier in the week, but he was so good on Sunday that it really kind of you don't even notice it.
yeah, and I mean he gave you everything that you could have asked for. It's just a little short.
Yep.
And you get him pitching against Oakland again this week. So congrats.
Yeah. Hopefully they
Um,
haven't learned anything.
yeah, hopefully. Your Cy Yuck, I'm gonna highlight a couple guys here because it's hard to really differentiate between these three, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to Marco Gonzalez, who you added for one start, who got shablammed. Um, I
Yeah. There he is with this
yeah, there he is.
43-20. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably my
Yeah.
number one Cy Yuck against Boston.
Yeah. And that was early in the week, and like that was because I think um that was like Wednesday. So like yeah, by then after that start, I was just like, oh fuck ERA.
Yeah, I guess that's done. I hate when that happens early in the week.
Yeah.
And then we'll highlight JP France, who had a couple of nice starts for you, but this week not so much. And we'll also highlight Grayson Rodriguez, who did not pitch well in, I think it was 2 outings, right?
Yeah. I mean, the one against Toronto was
It was
decent
okay.
considering he was
Yeah.
going against Toronto, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's another kid that I'm like, I don't know what to do with him. Like, I'm going to continue to stash him and I'll play the matchups, but it's going to be frustrating because I know I'm going to bench him against a team, that I should bench him against, and he'll do well, or vice versa. So,
Right.
Baseball.
Yep. That's baseball season. So that should put a bow on your matchup. Anything that we did not cover, anything you want to highlight?
Yeah, I just want to say, Ben, again, I said this to you via text, and every year it's always a fun challenge playing against you, Ben. You make me think, you make me work, and I like to think that I did a good job making you sweat it out, at least through Sunday. So I hope I hope it was just as much fun for you as it was for me. And I look forward to our next matchup, which I believe is going to be the last matchup of the season. So that should be exciting.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. So that means McCloskey and I will also be the last match of the season.
Correct.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. It'll be fun if you and Ben are both fighting for playoff spot, or one of you is trying to spoil the other one. Like, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. If it means something, it'll be fun. It'll be really fun. But either way, I always love going up against Ben. I have for years. So thank you for a great week, Ben.
Yeah. Yeah. Hats off, Ben. Awesome showdown.
Yeah.
All right. You want to move on?
Yeah. Let's move on, and we're going to take a look at Henry Collins taking down Kostas 13-8. This was an interesting matchup because Kostas came in kind of a little red hot. He had taken down Frank, and he was looking pretty good, and he gets taken down here by Henry. It was kind of a seesaw battle. Kostas was up for a little bit. They tied. It kind of went back and forth. It was close all week, really until Sunday. Sunday, Henry really kind of took it over. Let's look at the close categories. Henry wins by 3 RBIs, a steal, 3 walks by a batter, 1 save, and 2 relief appearances. Kostas wins by 2 doubles, the only triple of the matchup, 2 strikeouts by a batter, 2 errors, and 1 strikeout by a pitcher. And they didn't tie in a damn thing. On Henry's bench, he goes 13 for 50.
13 for 50. All right. Okay. So 13 for 52 would be a perfect 250. So that's a little bit worse. So let's go 264.
260.
Okay.
You math whiz, you.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. So 260, 6 runs, a double, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, 4 walks, 13 strikeouts. None of it plays. Good job, Henry. Nice bench week. Yeah, I mean he left a couple of home runs on the bench. There was a Stott solo home run and a Perdomo solo home run with Matt Chapman going over 4. But really, it was really just a solid bench week for Henry. So kudos to you on that.
Yeah.
He did use 9 ads, 6 hitters, a starter, 2 relievers. The 6 hitters, Nick Prado, Andy Ibanez. He did pick up Gary Sanchez, which I thought was interesting. We've seen the catcher roulette go for him. So now he's got Gary Sanchez, who I don't know what he's going to do for the Mets, but it's an interesting ad.
Yeah.
He picked up Josh Naylor for what ended up being the doubleheader against the Mets on Sunday, just to go 0 for 7 with 2 strikeouts. So that was cool.
Hey, when that happens.
Yeah. Otherwise, not a whole lot. He picked up Kyle Bradish for a good start against the Angels. And picked up Albert Abreu, which, you might be a little familiar with him.
I am familiar with that man.
Yeah.
He's been okay.
Yeah, let's look at his key players. His MVP, we're going to give it to Kyle Tucker. 304, 360 with 2 runs, 3 doubles, a homer, 7 RBIs, a steal, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. This is a good solid week from Kyle Tucker, which I think he's been waiting for. So it's good to see him come alive.
Yeah.
His least valuable hitter is another guy you're familiar with. How about Will Myers? 143 with a 188, just an RBI, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. I know CJ Cron's on the IL.
Yeah.
He had Nick Prado, Nick Prado, whatever, Nate Prado, Prado bag. And he had he ended Ibanez, he had Josh Naylor. He's going through these first basemen. I gotta think that Naylor or Prado is better than Will Myers.
Yeah, there's also some names still on the waivers that
right. So
Will Myers too. Yeah.
I don't think that you need Will Myers. I think you can do better than Will Myers.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah.
For the pitching side, let's highlight Charlie Morton. 6 2/3, a win, a walk, 10 strikeouts, nothing earned, a 120 whip. Good start from Morton against the Rangers. Solid. Also highlight Carlos Estevez, who picked up 3 saves in 3 innings and 3 appearances with just a walk and 5 strikeouts, nothing earned.
Very nice.
For his Cy Young, he pitched to a 2.18 ERA. So you find a Cy Young in all of this.
Yeah.
Mark Leiter. Mark Leiter was not good.
1 inning.
In 1 inning, yeah. Luzardo.
I guess Luzardo.
The 15 strikeouts is nice, but
yeah, it is.
He 3 homers and the loss.
Yeah.
He picked up Richard Lovelady, who only got him a loss and a home run allowed. So that's that didn't work out very well. So
more like
he's been on a couple teams now. All of a sudden, huh?
What? I said more like Richard Hate Man.
Yeah,
but
what
a great name.
He's been on a few teams now, and I don't know what the appeal is with this guy.
Yeah, I don't know either. But the name Dick Lovelady is amazing. So
Dick Lovelady.
Dick Lovelady. It may even be better than Dick Mountain. I don't know.
I think you have a case there. Let's talk about Kostas. On his bench, he goes 6 for 27.
Okay, so that is a 225.
That is a 222.
Oh. See how quick I was, though? That was close.
Yeah. I could never do that. 3 runs, a double, 2 RBIs, a walk, 2 strikeouts. None of that really plays. So another good benching from Kostas this week. His ads this week, he used 8. Only one was a hitter, and that was Jose Caballero. who went over 3 with a strikeout, so that didn't work out. He did pick up Lucas Sims, who gave him 1/3 of an inning and a 1.08 ERA. That's 4 runs allowed and got 1 out, so that's cool. But he also did pick up Andrew Heaney, who we'll talk about in a minute. He picked up Zach Greinke and then dropped Zach Greinke in the same day, which was cool because then I got to pick up Zach Greinke and get him for a decent start. So thank you, Kostas.
Yeah.
He then tried to stream a couple of Tigers against the Nationals. Alex Faedo gave him 5 innings and a loss, 4 strikeouts, a home run allowed, not great. Then he went ahead and tried Joey Wentz against the same Nationals, and he was even worse. 2 innings, a loss, 2 homers, 1 strikeout, a 27 ERA, and a 5 WHIP. So maybe lay off the Tiger pitching.
Yeah, maybe. But when strikeouts are that close, I mean, I guess I could see why he was going for it.
Yeah. I mean, no, I definitely get the reasoning behind it, but it just didn't really work out.
Nope.
I mean, the strikeouts worked out, but nothing else did.
Right.
For his key players, his MVP is definitely Freddie Freeman.
Yep.
429 with a 500 on base, 5 runs, 4 doubles, a triple, a homer, 8 RBIs, a steal, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Talk about a stuffed stat sheet.
Yeah, this guy just does it forever. He's never going to stop. It's so impressive.
He'll be doing this in his 50s.
Yeah, it's so impressive.
He's the least valuable hitter. There were a couple of guys I was going between. Ahmed Rosario was not very good, but because I don't like this man, I'm giving to DJ LeMahieu.
I knew you were going there. I knew it.
He did get the double and a walk, but 7 strikeouts, just a 100 average and a 143 on base. Yes, Rosario was not good.
It's funny that you dislike DJ more than you dislike Ahmed Rosario. That's funny to me. It's
not Rosario's fault that he got traded to off the Mets, and he gave us Francisco Lindor. So I'm cool with him.
Didn't he got traded? Oh, he got traded. Okay, yeah, I guess that's not his fault. All right.
Yeah. But he did he had a good day against the Mets on Friday, but Kostas didn't start him. So had he started him, it would have been a little bit of a better week than what he's showing here.
All right.
On the pitching side, let's highlight. I mentioned Andrew Heaney. 6 innings, a win, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, nothing earned, and a 133 WHIP. That was a solid start, against the A's. That's what you do. And, we laugh about, the bike, right? Because everybody's had a turn.
Yep. He is the village bicycle.
Yeah.
How many teams are we at now?
Let's see. We have Henry, Joe, you, Josh, Joe again, and then Kostas.
So 5. That's 5 out of 16. We're almost there.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I will not be taking a ride, but we'll see.
You say that now, Jason. Everyone.
Famous last words. I know. I'll also highlight Hunter Green, who was not great, but the 18 strikeouts cost us 1 by 1. So 18 strikeouts was pretty huge.
Yeah.
And also Michael King, 4 1/3 with a save, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, nothing earned over 3 appearances.
He is the king.
And the Cy Young's going to go to Wentz. I mentioned him, just an awful start against the Nationals. And there you see Lucas Sims with his stratospheric ERA.
Yeah. It's not what you want. Also, Alek Manoah, also pretty bad.
Yeah, and Alek Manoah has been pretty bad all year long. This is talk about a disappointment. This is not what you expected from this kid. He was supposed to be Cy Young category, and third round. Yeah, I mean, this is awful.
Yeah, he was my pick for Cy Young at the beginning of the year, so that's not happening.
Yeah, he would need a major turnaround for the last 3/4 of the season.
Yeah,
and I don't see that happening.
No.
All right. So Kostas takes the loss here. He only drops one spot in the standings, but he's got to feel a little discouraged just because, again, he did have that big win against Frank the previous week. And you kind of were hoping for, a little bit of a run here, and he just kind of got, blocked by Henry.
Yeah. Yeah. And a nice big win here for Henry. Um, Taking him over 500, which is a nice milestone to hit. And to throw 70 innings and pitch to a 218 and a 102, like I'm so jealous of that. I don't see myself ever doing that this year. Um, I'm struggling to get below a 5, but that's really impressive. Um, and also the fact that he took Kostas down in saves and relief appearances, I think is monumental because it's two stats that Kostas likes to grab as often
Yeah.
as possible. So good for this new manager to make the right choices, have the restraint not to chase strikeouts if he didn't need to. And still win pretty much every pitching category and a huge chunk of the offensive categories. Like this team's on the rise, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting you mentioned about the relief appearances because he only won by 2. And Costas, he only added one reliever this week. And it was Lucas Sims, who was
Yeah.
dog shit. So he
Yeah.
didn't even try. I don't know. And he added him on Tuesday, so that was the beginning of the week. He never really didn't seem like he was really chasing that throughout the week.
Very interesting.
Yeah. All right. I think that'll put a bow on here, and let's go to our final matchup that we're going to review for Week 7, and that's going to be Bryan Lebo taking down Matt Loosee by 11-7 score here. This was an interesting one because I was watching this, and it just kind of felt like Lebo needed to win this one. Like, had he lost this one, I think it would have been really, really debilitating.
Yeah.
And he was losing for a good portion of the week. He ended Thursday down 11-8. So like he came back and turned it around, but it was looking pretty scary, for the majority of the week.
Yeah. I mean, his offense just flat out didn't show up. So
Yeah, one home run, one home run in 216 at bats.
yeah, that's absurd.
Yeah, that's it's sad. You almost want to cry for the guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's touch on the close categories. Lebo did win the triple. 2 walks by a batter, 1 save, and 3 walks by a pitcher. Matt wins by 1 strikeout by a batter and 1 relief appearance. They tied in runs, doubles, and errors. On Lebo's bench, he goes 12 for 27.
Oh, that's not very good.
It's not.
12 for 24 is a 500. So a 12 for 27 is obviously a 462.
444.
Okay, that's that.
A lot of 4s. In fact, there's more 4s. So it's a 444 with 4 runs and 4 doubles. The 4 runs, he only needed 1 to win that category. 4 doubles, he only needed 1 to win that category.
Yikes.
6 RBIs, a steal, a strikeout, and an error. It was tough. Let's look at Friday. Was it Friday? Yeah, Friday. He had Bryan Hayes on the bench with 2 doubles. Kyle Farmer was okay. You're not benching Trey Turner, even though he's been really bad so far this year.
Yeah.
Michael Harris had a horrible week. So, but like, it's tough to get these guys in,
Yeah. Yeah.
But that right there is there's your run and your 2 doubles. Like,
yeah, especially like Michael Harris has been god awful. And Taylor Ward has also been god awful. So
yeah.
to play both of them at the same time And even like Kyle Farmer is fine, I guess, but when are you gonna play Farmer over Hayes? I don't know if Hayes was going up against Zach Gallen. That's the only, but
I don't think so because they won this game 13-3. I don't think that was a Zach Allen game.
yeah, I'd be
Um,
shocked if it was. But I mean, I would understand if that's why he benched him, but I don't think that they won 13-3 on Zach Allen.
let's take a look because I don't know why why you would do that. Let's go.
Let's go.
Well, we'll come back to it. But
Yeah.
for now, yeah, we have. I mean, he won the week, so not to hang your head on too much, but that would have made it, a much different story. He's still sitting in 14th place. Maybe he wins, gets 2 more categories. Maybe that makes things a little bit different.
Yeah.
It was Zach Allen. Look at that. It was Zach Allen. Okay.
Wow.
I
Okay.
sit corrected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I can see that then. I can see
Yeah.
that.
I get it.
Um, let's talk about his ads for the week. He used all 12, 4 on hitters, 2 starters, 6 relievers. Let's see. He started off with Monday. He picked up Patrick Corbin, who gave him a great start against the Mets. 6 innings, a win, a walk, and a strikeout. He picked up a couple of relievers on Thursday, Drew Verhagen and Ryan Weber. Each of them gave him an inning and a relief appearance. He got a save out of Tyler Rogers, who has been kind of yucky this year, but he found a save from that guy. He picked up Justin Bruhill from the Dodgers. That guy gave him a relief appearance. Brock Burke gave him a relief appearance. By the way, his biggest ad, I think, of the week came his last ad of the week, where he picked up Alejandro Kirk, who, yes, he's been really struggling this year, but if this guy can turn it around, like,
Yeah.
we've seen that this guy has some serious power potential. Like, if
Yeah.
Tyler Stevenson doesn't work and Kirk can turn it around, like that's a great ad.
It really is. It really is. As of right now, it doesn't look promising just because I think Danny Jansen has taken the lion's share of the starts, but you're right. That's a guy that you hold on to
Yeah.
when Tyler Stevenson inevitably gets hurt. So
Right. And Jansen too. Jansen's made of glass too. So
yeah.
I feel like, Kostas drafted this guy in the 11th round. Maybe gave up on him a little too early. I can understand the frustration, so I don't blame him. But maybe it works out for Lebo. We'll see.
Yeah.
For his key players, his MVP is tough, right? We talked about the offense. He had 1 home run and he hit 213. So it wasn't really a strong offensive week. But his new friend, Andrew McCutchen, had a decent week, a 350 average of 409 on base, 3 runs, an RBI, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. I mean, not great, but it's something.
Yeah. That guy's going to annoy the hell out of me this week. But
Jonathan India walked 4 times and he won by 2 walks. So that's kind of key also.
Yeah.
But overall, he's got to do better than the 1 home run. I don't know. Joe would probably be able to tell us if there's ever been a time where nobody's hit a home run in a full week.
Oh my
But
God.
one seems pretty bad.
Yeah.
For his least valuable player, we talked about Michael Harris, an 0.45 averaging on base, 1 run, 1 double, 3 strikeouts, and an error. And he's just been terrible all year long.
Oh man, is that a second rounder?
This was third round.
The first pick in the 3rd round, so 33rd overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
sophomore slumps are a thing. And look, I'm going through it with Julio. Same position, same kind of player, same expectations, and it's not working.
Yeah. Oh man.
Let's flip over to the pitching side, and Kevin Gausman just lights out this week. 15 innings, a homer, 4 walks, 14 strikeouts, a 240 and a 1 whip. And he also he had 2 uneven starts, right? He had 8 innings, 7 innings, both great, 10 strikeouts, 4 strikeouts. So it was this start against the Yankees was just juicy.
Yep.
But he didn't get the win. He didn't get the win in either start, which is just kind of sad.
Yeah.
Sayuk, we talked about but the poor hitting, but the pitching was fantastic. A 2.81 ERA in 73 innings. So again, finding a Sayuk, I'm going with Genesis Cabrera, an inning in the third, 2 homers, a walk, 2 strikeouts, a 20-25, and a 3 whip over 2 relief appearances. But I think he only gave up in one of them. So, but again, in a matchup like this where he kind of dominated the pitching, it was really kind of hard to find somebody. Helsley wasn't great, but he got him a win and a save. So, that's good.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. All right, let's flip over to Matt Loosee, who on the bench, he goes, here you go. You like this one. 10 for 40.
Hey, 10 for 40. All right, that's a 250.
It is. 8 runs, which he only needed 1 to win the category. 2 doubles, only 1 wins the category. 2 homers, 4 RBIs, 3 steals, 5 walks, 15 strikeouts, and an error. The walks, he only needed 3 to flip, but that's tough to get in. Josh Lowe. He had trouble getting Josh Lowe in.
Oh, you gotta play that guy every day.
Yeah, on Wednesday. Here we go. He had Lowe on the bench with a double run, an RBI, a steal. Whereas but again, Joey Gallo, I guess, is the move, maybe.
Yeah, I guess.
Conforto, I guess, is the move, maybe. He also benched Lowe again on Thursday, and I think, did he have anybody else going? No, he had. There were empty spots here, so
don't like to see that.
Don't like to see that. And even on Monday, he had Starling Marte on the bench with an empty left field.
Yeah.
So
it's tough. I mean, I do want to mention that I did speak to Matt. I reprimanded him a little bit. We had a little talk, and hopefully he starts to get a little bit more on top of his management. And because a guy like Josh Lowe, you just need to leave him in. A guy like Mike Trout, just leave him in. There's no reason to really bench these guys unless you're going to be diligent and put them back in the day after if they have an off day. But otherwise, if you can't stay on top of it, just leave these guys in the lineup.
I mean, look, he ended up winning by 1 strikeout, and he left 15 strikeouts on the bench. So in that case, it does work in his favor. But you can't leave. I mean, Sunday there was another big day for Marte in the Mets doubleheader, with Conforto out. There was a few of these. So,
and honestly, the offensive week that Lebo put up, you have to take advantage of that. And you have to get those players in because you can probably win runs, doubles, and walks, and then walk out with all the offensive categories.
Yeah.
And Lebo takes all the pitching categories, but at least it's even at that point,
And in a spot right here where you're 14th and 16th, you both want to get out of that basement, and this was an opportunity to capitalize, and it just didn't happen.
Yep.
He did use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ads. He picked up let's see. Oh, he dropped Braxton Garrett, who he dropped him on Saturday, who then threw 6 in the third shutout innings against San Francisco with 8 strikeouts. So that was rough.
Yeah.
Otherwise, nothing too much to talk about. He picked up Orlando Arcia, who we'll talk about in a second. He tried the Brazil run thing to Gregory Santos. He's kind of, Alex Young. I feel like he's following your shoes.
Yeah, all my failures.
yeah, he's trying them. Let's talk about his key players. Seiya Suzuki is MVP, who's also having a good day today. 364, average of 440 on base, 4 runs, a double, 3 homers, 5 RBIs, a steal, 3 walks, 10 strikeouts, and an error. Not pretty, but you'll take that with the rest of this production.
Yeah, for sure.
So for his least valuable players, well, I mentioned Orlando Arcia. He dropped J.P. Crawford to pick up Arcia, and Arcia was terrible. 0.91, 4 strikeouts and an error, but also J.P. Crawford was bad too. And this the switch happened midweek, so both of them were just equally as bad.
Yeah, at least he tried to shake it up a bit, but yeah.
I definitely give him credit for making the ads and making moves. So at least he's attentive and he's making moves, but
trying.
Just need that day-to-day management going.
Yeah.
On the pitching side, he also picked up a Michael Kopech, who was fantastic. 8 innings, a win, 10 strikeouts, nothing earned, and a .13 WHIP. Easily the best start of the season for this guy against Kansas City. I feel like he's also been around. There's been a few of us that I tried him. He didn't really work out for me, but this was a great start for him.
Yeah, for sure.
And the Cy Young, Julio Urias, 3 innings, a loss, 4 homers, 2 walks, 1 strikeout, an 18 ERA, and a 2.67 WHIP, followed by a trip to the IL. Ouch.
Yeah, and I want to point out here that's something for us to watch going into week 8. I haven't looked so far, but he's got a lot of guys on the IL. He's got a lot of bench spots that he can't really utilize, and I don't blame him for that. But Herman is suspended, DeGrom and Urias on the IL. We just had someone miss the minimum. For a manager that doesn't check as often as he should, it concerns me that he has 4.5 starters on this team.
I mean, you can probably be safe to dump Cruz because I don't even know if he's going to come back this year. And if he does, you're probably talking the last week of September or something like that.
Yeah.
So you can probably dump that guy and, put DeGrom, on the IL because DeGrom's going to be out for at least another month or so.
Definitely free some space up, add another starter just to get some innings. I don't know if he has any 2-start pitchers this week, but it's just something to look at going into week 8. Hopefully he makes the minimum and makes the ads, but now I'm paranoid about it after someone missed this past week.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point. And looking at the schedule, he's going up against Ari here in week 8. And that's it's a curious matchup, right? Because we know how Ari operates, but can Matt, can he capitalize on that? Can he make that work? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good question. We'll see.
It doesn't get any easier because after Ari, it's Josh, Mike Sherman, you, and then me, and then Bobby.
Yeah, there's not a lot of soft spots in these schedules, so.
No, not at all. It's a tough schedule for all of us this year.
Yes, it is.
Anything else you want to highlight on this matchup?
I think we kind of covered it. I mean, I want to see Matt continue to push. I want to see I'd love to see Bryan, just not this week because I'm playing him, but I'd love to see Bryan continue to climb upward, because we've said it about other managers, but this league is fun when Bryan Lebo is competing and at
Yeah.
the top. And that offensive performance is something that stands out, or lack of offensive performance, and it's something that you got to consider making some big moves here. And it's still early in the season. He's got some time, but I'm more worried about what Lebo can do and less worried about Matt at this point. But
Yes.
yeah. So keep the wins rolling. Lebo is a good win. It was a necessary win. And keep fighting.
Yeah. All right. I think that's going to bring us to our managers of the week. Who you got for number 3?
Oof.
Yeah, this one was tough.
Yeah, this is not an easy one here. I know who am I. All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go our co-host Joe Schubert here.
Okay.
Taking down a 13-7 win, almost a double up. He didn't have an enormous offensive week, but as far as like production goes, but he had a great offensive week as far as getting on base, which is what Joe does best. He wants to have a team that gets on base. He won by a double and a triple, but his batting average was 302 and his on base was over 400. So he was obviously like making the right calls on offense. He's sort of like piecemealed this team together with some of the injuries he's sustained, but like it's really coming together. And I think he has said it himself, but he's finally happy with his team. And he gets number 3 for the week because I'm not sure that Christian made a ton of moves this week, but Joe did what he was supposed to do. So I give him my manager number 3.
Awesome. I'm going to get number 3 to your brother, to Josh Haber. He took a good win over Ari and supplants himself in 3rd place in the standings, which is a great place to be here, after the first quarter of the season. Or I guess almost the first third of the season.
Yeah.
And he had a great pitching week, 2.34 ERA over 65 innings, 7 wins. And his offense, Ari had a really good offense, but like Josh's was still good too, with a 269 and 340. So like he made the moves he needed to make. And I think Josh is on a roll now. So hopefully he can. How fun would it be to see the 2 Haber brothers, 1 and 2? That would be so much fun.
Oh man, we would go crazy. We would absolutely go crazy.
Sibling rivalry taken to a whole new level.
Yep. That'll be fun.
All right, who you got for number 2?
Number 2, I've got. I'm gonna go with. I'm torn between 1 and 2, but I'm gonna go with Henry Collins. We talked about it earlier, but it was such a huge win. And we did talk about it in detail, but it got him over 500, and playing against Kostas is never an easy feat. So congrats to Henry. Proud of you, and keep climbing up, my friend.
Yeah. And for all the same reasons, I'm giving number 2 to Henry as well. I want to see it more, sustain that momentum, Henry, but keep climbing. But yeah, that was a great win over Kostas. So congrats to you.
Absolutely.
All right, sir. Who you got for numero uno?
I gotta go with your opponent here. I'm sorry. I gotta go with our commissioner, Ben, who takes a 13-7 win over you, which is never easy at all. And you fought your ass off, and Ben just continued to, chip away and steal stats here and there. The reason why I'm giving him my number 1 is, first of all, you both played amazing, but the reason why I give it to him is because he had to step outside his comfort zone and still took an almost double up win. And the fact that you forced him was awesome. I wish that you were able to snag some of those categories as a result of forcing him to step outside of his comfort zone. But the fact that he was able to still manage 67 and 2/3 innings, which when his total is usually around 43, and win, 9 out of 11 pitching categories or whatever, or 8 out of 10, whatever it is very impressive. So I got to give my hats off to our commissioner on that one.
For all those reasons and much, much more, I'm right there with you. Ben, this was a fun, challenging matchup that I started the week going, forget it, I'm dead. I'm going to lose this one 15-2. And then by Saturday, I went, okay, maybe I'm actually going to pull this one out. And, so it was a roller coaster week. And Ben just did the Ben things that he had to do. And I know I made him nervous, and it showed because he did the things that he wouldn't normally do, but he had to do, and it worked for him. And look, my offense didn't show up on Sunday, so that was certainly, a factor.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he just did the Ben things that Ben does. So congrats to you, Ben.
Yeah, and it's worth noting too that if you had pulled out this win or even a tie, you probably would have been my number one, given how the week started for you. So the fact that you brought it back to 13-7 is really impressive. I can't give you a manager of the week for that, but still it's incredibly impressive. And if you had pulled out that 11-10 win, which you were at on Saturday, I would have had a party for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And it sucks. I was looking pretty good there. I was feeling good in 7th or 6th, 8th place, around there, middle of the standings. Now I'm in 10th, and I'm 8 games under 500. So it's not panic time yet, but I need some of these guys to really step up and, soon. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree though. It's definitely not panic time. You are perfectly fine 8 games under. 10th place means nothing right now, so you're golden in my eyes. You're golden in my eyes, Jason.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, you're golden. You're 11 games in first place, so and you're, I don't know, I can't even count that high. You're many games over 500. So, congrats to you. And again, I think it'd be so much fun to see you and Josh battle for the top spot.
Fingers crossed.
Yep. All right, sir. Well, this was fun.
Yes, it was. Thanks for doing this with me.
Absolutely. It's always a joy talking baseball and talking the bigs. And we're a third of the way through, guys. This is it's gonna be a fun rest of the summer. I can't wait to see what happens.
Yep, me too.
Until then, it's been real.
And it's been fun.
And it is always real fun in the bigs. We'll see you next time, guys.